The sun was dipping low over Los Angeles, casting an orange glow across the quiet neighborhood. Keanu Reeves was cruising down the street on his black motorcycle, the engine's low rumble cutting through the evening calm. He'd just wrapped a long day on a movie set, filming intense action scenes for a new thriller. His leather jacket was scuffed from a stunt, and he was looking forward to a quiet night at home. But fate had other plans. As he turned onto a residential street, Keanu noticed a crowd gathering at the end of the block. People were shouting, pointing at a two-story house with smoke pouring from the windows. Flames licked the roof, and the air was thick with the smell of burning wood. He pulled over, killed the engine, and yanked off his helmet. His eyes narrowed as he scanned the scene. A woman was screaming, her voice raw with panic. "My son, he's still inside. Someone please." Keanu's heart kicked into high gear. He'd played heroes in movies, but this was real. No stunt doubles, no second takes. He pushed through the crowd, ignoring the heat radiating from the house. A firefighter was yelling into a radio, but the fire truck was still a few minutes out. Every second counted. Keanu caught the mother's eye. She was frantic, tears streaming down her face. "He's upstairs, in his room. The back bedroom. Please, he's only 7. Without a word, Keanu sprinted toward the house. A neighbor grabbed his arm. "Man, you can't go in there. It's too dangerous." Keanu shook him off. "Kid's in there. I'm going." His voice was calm but firm, the kind of tone that shut down arguments. He pulled his bandana over his nose and mouth, tying it tight. The front door was already half open, smoke billowing out like a dark cloud. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. The heat hit him like a wall. The living room was a haze of smoke, flames crawling up the curtains. Keanu crouched low, moving fast. He'd trained for action roles, so he knew how to stay focused under pressure. The stairs were ahead, partially engulfed in fire. He tested the first step. It held. He took the stairs 2 at a time, ignoring the creak of weakening wood. The smoke stung his eyes, but he kept moving, driven by the thought of that kid trapped upstairs. At the top, the hallway was a tunnel of heat and darkness. Keanu squinted, trying to make out the doors. The mother had said the back bedroom. He crawled now, keeping below the worst of the smoke. His hand brushed something soft, a stuffed animal, singed but intact. He grabbed it, tucking it into his jacket. Maybe it belonged to the kid. He reached the last door and pushed it open. The room was a mess, toys scattered, flames creeping along the walls. In the corner, curled up on the floor, was a small boy, coughing and trembling. "Hey, buddy," Keanu said, his voice steady despite the chaos. "I'm here to get you out. You with me?" The boy, wide-eyed, nodded weakly. His name was Timmy, Keanu learned later, but right now, he was just a scared kid who needed help. Keanu scooped him up, keeping him close. The boy clung to him, coughing into his shoulder. Keanu glanced around. The window was their best shot, but it was a long drop. He needed a plan, and he needed it fast. The fire was spreading, the heat pressing in like a living thing. Keanu held Timmy tight, scanning the room for options. The window was their only way out. The hallway was now a wall of flames. He kicked a chair out of the way and reached the window, yanking it open. Fresh air rushed in, but so did the roar of the fire, fed by the new oxygen. Below, the crowd was bigger, and he could hear sirens in the distance. The fire truck was close, but not close enough. Keanu leaned out, assessing the drop. It was about 15 feet to the grass below, too high for a kid, and he wasn't sure he could make it without injuring them both. He spotted a drain pipe running down the side of the house. It looked sturdy, but it was a gamble. He glanced at Timmy, who was clutching the stuffed animal Keanu had handed him. "You like superheroes, Timmy?" Keanu asked, keeping his voice light to calm the boy. Timmy nodded, his eyes red from smoke. "Spider-Man," he whispered. "Cool. We're gonna be like Spider-Man, okay? Hold on tight." Keanu shifted Timmy to his back, making sure the boy's arms were wrapped around his neck. "Don't let go, no matter what." He climbed onto the windowsill, gripping the frame. The drain pipe was a foot to the right. He reached out, testing it with one hand. It held. He swung out, grabbing the pipe with both hands, Timmy clinging to him like a backpack. The pipe groaned, but didn't break. Keanu moved fast, sliding down inch by inch, his boots braced against the wall. The metal was hot, scorching his palms, but he gritted his teeth and kept going. Timmy was quiet, too scared to make a sound. Halfway down, the pipe shook, and Keanu's heart stopped. A bracket had come loose. He tightened his grip, willing the pipe to hold. "Almost there, buddy," he said, more to himself than Timmy. They hit the ground hard, Keanu bending his knees to absorb the impact. The crowd cheered, but he didn't stop to acknowledge them. He set Timmy down, checking him for injuries. The boy was coughing but alive, his face streaked with soot. Keanu pulled off his bandana and wiped Timmy's face. "You're okay, man. You did great." The mother rushed over, sobbing as she pulled Timmy into her arms. "Thank you. Oh my God, thank you," she kept saying. Keanu just nodded, stepping back. The fire truck screeched to a stop, and firefighters swarmed the house, hoses blasting. Keanu's hands were burned, his jacket ruined, but he didn't care. Timmy was safe. That was enough. The paramedics arrived, wrapping Timmy in a blanket and checking his vitals. Keanu stood off to the side, catching his breath. His lungs burned from the smoke, and his hands stung where the pipe had seared them. A paramedic noticed and insisted on bandaging his hands. "You're lucky you didn't break anything," she said, shaking her head. "That was crazy." Keanu shrugged. Had to be done. He wasn't one for big speeches. He watched as Timmy's mom hugged her son, still crying, but smiling now. The boy was talking, pointing at Keanu and clutching the stuffed animal, a scorched teddy bear. Keanu felt a small grin tug at his lips. He'd grabbed it on instinct, and it seemed to mean something to the kid. The firefighters were getting the blaze under control, but the house was a total loss. Neighbors were already talking about setting up a fund to help the family. Keanu listened quietly, his mind still racing from the adrenaline. A news van pulled up, and a reporter spotted him, her eyes lighting up. "Keanu Reeves? Are you the one who saved that boy?" she called, jogging over with a microphone. Keanu waved her off. "Just helped out. Firefighters are the real heroes." He wasn't here for the spotlight. He glanced at Timmy, who was now sipping water and looking steadier. The kid gave him a shy wave, and Keanu waved back. That was enough thanks for him. As the crowd thinned, a firefighter approached Keanu. "Man, you're either brave or nuts." That house was ready to collapse. Keanu just nodded. Kid needed help. Couldn't wait. The firefighter clapped him on the shoulder. "Well, you did good. Not many would have gone in there." Keanu's phone buzzed in his pocket. It was his manager, probably wondering why he wasn't home yet. He ignored it. Instead, he walked over to Timmy and his mom. "You guys okay?" he asked. The mom nodded, her voice thick with emotion. "We'll be fine, thanks to you. I don't even know how to repay you." Keanu shook his head. "Just take care of him. That's all that matters." The next morning, Keanu woke up to a flood of notifications. The story had blown up online. Phone videos from the crowd, news clips, and ex-posts calling him a real-life action hero. He groaned, tossing his phone aside. Fame was part of his life, but this wasn't why he'd done it. He just couldn't stand by while a kid was in danger. Simple as that. He headed to a local diner for breakfast, hoping to avoid the buzz. But the waitress recognized him, grinning as she poured his coffee. "Saw you on the news, man. That was incredible." Keanu just smiled and ordered pancakes. He didn't want to talk about it. His hands were still bandaged, but the burns weren't too bad. He'd be back on set in a couple of days, ready to play a hero again, this time for the cameras. Later that day, he got a call from Timmy's mom. They were staying with relatives while they figured things out. She said Timmy kept talking about the motorcycle man who saved him and his teddy bear. "He wants to meet you again, to say thanks properly," she said. Keanu agreed to stop by later that week. He wasn't big on fanfare, but he figured it might help the kid feel safe. When he visited, Timmy was shy at first, but lit up when Keanu handed him a new Spider-Man action figure. "Thought you might like this," Keanu said, ruffling the kid's hair. Timmy grinned, clutching the toy. "You're like a real superhero," he said. Keanu laughed softly. "Nah, just a guy who was there. You're the tough one, Timmy." As he rode home that evening, the city lights blurring past, Keanu felt a quiet sense of peace. He didn't need the headlines or the praise. Knowing Timmy was safe, that he'd made a difference, was enough. The world could keep its spotlight. He'd done what felt right, and that was all that mattered.